Hi, my name is Greg Canty, and I'd like to welcome you to the Win Happy podcast. I love chatting to people from all walks of life about their lives and their careers, about the choices they make along the way to pursue their happiness, and what winning actually means to them. I hope you enjoy these conversations as much as I do. Thanks for listening. On part 2 of a 2-part podcast, I welcome back the lovely Ellie, founder of Unbridling the Soul. Ellie tells us about the dog Max and what she had to do to help return him to normal, having discovered what the problem was after talking to him. She chats about her ability to communicate with animals and the spirit world, and how this is used in her work to heal people and animals. She speaks in detail about her range of services, which are offered both in person and remotely, and she urges all of us to be more curious about ourselves, to scratch that itch and discover what might be lurking deep inside us. Ellie helped our beloved dog Bert, who very sadly passed away last October and broke our hearts. Let's hear from Ellie.
There's something that comes to mind, and it just might explain the kind of unseeing work that goes on there. It's a more recent case, but I don't advertise for house clearings, or as a friend affectionately calls it.
It's not on your list of services on your website, Ellie.
As my friend affectionately calls it, ghost busting,
I'll kick the spirits out.
Yeah, but so how does it happen? And this is one of these synchronistic moments, and I suppose there's been many of them. And the lady has said it's okay to share the story. And I think I shared some of it with you. It's the dog Max. This was initially an animal communication session. This lady reached out. The dog was experiencing health difficulties. So
we have to blow the whistle on the conversation.
Yeah.
Animal communication. You have to open the door. Okay, tell me about that, and then we can talk about Max. This is one of the services that you offer. So come on, we're going to blow your cover now and go right in.
Animal communication, yeah, it's another one that I trained in because it came onto my radar. I always talk to animals, and then I realized, oh my God, that you can actually hone this. You can train this up in this skill and develop it and offer it. So I did. I trained up in it. I went to courses. I've read books. I've studied it, and then experiences with animals. And it is one of the services I offer. I am a translator, a bridge between humans and animals. Yeah.
Okay. And what I understand is from a very early age, seeking solace from the chaos or whatever, the stress of the family home, you are so happy out there chatting with the animals, and your relationship with them goes so deeper than more people, because of the amount of time you understand them and you get the rhythms of them and all that kind of stuff, and you get the response back from them. And so many years on, you have that skill. But, and we know from our interactions, that doesn't have to be an in-person experience.
No.
It's not ring Ellie and she's going to come out to see little Bert.
No.
You can actually do this at a different level. And I think the basic instruction is it to, all we need to do from whatever corner of this earth is send you a photograph of our pet. Is it any pet?
Yeah, any pet. Absolutely. Yeah. So literally from where you're sitting is where I would do it.
And the photo needs to...
What are the requirements as such? What do I need? So because I'm literally dialing in to your animal's frequency. So I'm locking into that. So what do I need? I just need a clear picture, but particularly its eyes, because it's like the eyes of the window to the soul, you know, and not to have anyone else in the picture, and no like bright light, like or sunlight affecting the colour of the eyes. Just that
so just a good natural photograph of the animal's face.
Exactly.
With their eyes. Okay.
Exactly. That's it. So that is, and usually their name. And sometimes, you know, as much information as possible. Sometimes there's no information. There's times, Greg, I don't even know where they're living in the world. I don't need that. It's like a radio in the kitchen, and you want to get that particular station from Dallas or wherever, and you dial into that frequency. and you dial and you move, and then you go, oh, that's crystal clear. So that's literally what I'm doing with a particular animal. Yeah. Like a massive energetic cord to them. But I'm asking permission from them. Yeah.
And the eyes are the frequency. Really.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're now tuned into Max, this trouble dog.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You tell the story. I felt I needed to fill
fine.
in some of the background.
Rein me in a little bit.
Yeah. No, because I'm saying, how do we get from there to there? Okay.
I know. So as an example of like how kind of things happen. So this lady contacted me, her dog, Max. She just felt he was really off form. She couldn't put her finger on it. They had started building work in the house, massive renovation and it had gone on for 18 months. And over that period of time, one of the things she just kind of mentioned, he'd stopped sleeping in their bedroom. He was taken to not wanting to come out of the car after walks. She felt maybe there was something wrong. At times he would kind of fall and drop a bit. So she didn't know why he wanted to stay in the boot of the car more. Why did he not want to come in the front door? And why did she said it was like she was having to move things out of the way of the back door. She wondered, was his sight okay? He just seemed really off. There wasn't a full, clear way of him coming into the house. And so she had questions. Did he want to be lifted? Was he in pain? What was going on for him? And so it was what I would experience a typical request for an animal communication session. There's something going on, something has happened in the animal's behaviour, they're presenting with something and they want to know what's there for the animal. So I do what I always do, ask for the clear photo, explained how it works. And initially, because my work is based on consent, I'll reach out energetically to that frequency from where you're sitting. And I shared with Max who I am, what I do. Will he speak with me? Will he work with me? And I won't work with any animal unless they say yes. And we went from there. And like one of the very first sessions with Max, it just jumped. And I was blindsided because I wasn't expecting it. I thought we were just going down the road of health and all of that. And Max started asking me to clear their house. And he said in the building works of the house and the renovations, there was energy, spirits unearthed. And they were causing problems for him. So, you can imagine at times like going back to the Guardian and then saying like, okay, here we go. This is either going to be met really well or it could be shut down, and just mocked at and laughed at. Like there's a risk.
This wasn't he has a sore tummy.
Yeah, this wasn't what she had reached out and asked for, So in that, there was no advertising. There was no like, this is what I do. This was an animal who knew what I do from the unseen forces and had managed to have his owner contact me, So thankfully she was really open to it.
So in a way, Max had a better sense of what was going on
totally
in that property than the people who lived there had.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I presume in a way that Max was unsettled.
Yeah.
The people living there must have felt something odd as well.
Yeah.
But logic had a way.
Exactly.
Because we're humans and we operate like that, and what are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Of course, it's stressful. We're renovating the house.
Yes. So they would put it down to stress or different things. Thankfully, they were very open to Max's request and what I would do, and just went, yeah, go for it. And the only way I can describe it is then when I began working with Max, he literally took me through his eyes. And showed me what was going on in the house. And it was in the bedroom, in the new bedroom where it had been formed as a new room. There had been an old couple living there, and the old man had become bedridden, and his wife was staying there as his companion. But they had felt this real duty of responsibility of the land and the house and didn't want to leave it, And the old man passed, but he never transitioned. And the old lady in time passed. And so there, through the building works, their spirits had been unearthed. And so we moved them on. We asked permission to move them on to this place of peace. And within 2 days of that clearing, Max is sleeping in their room. after not going in there for 18 months, you know. There was another spirit that through the building works had been unearthed under the front door. It was just a guy who was nomadic like years ago and had become frail and ill and died. And Max didn't want to go past his spirit through the front door, so we moved him on. Then Max, no bother going in there through the front door, you know. And the back door was the same. There was another 2 spirits, and they were blocking his path, and he didn't want to go past them, so moved them on. So that's why I would describe, like, I feel this is what I'm in service. It's bringing peace to spirits that are stuck, or, you know, not realizing that they can relinquish their responsibility to the land or the house, and that someone else is there to care for it as such. So bringing peace to the home, to the animal, because Max was disturbed, you know. And then in that, part of the animal communication session was Max showed me he was short-circuiting. And that's what was happening. So he didn't mind being lifted, but he no longer wanted to jump down from the boot because he couldn't tell when he was going to short circuit in his brain, and then when his legs would go from underneath him. So he was afraid of falling. And he asked for, so sometimes the animal will just know innately what they want. He asked for a particular cream, and then I would always say, check with your vet, you know, always work with your vet, go check or whatever like that. So everything that we outlined, and they worked with the vet, and Max is now happy, going in and out of the house, sleeping in the room, there's peace, and, you know, everything has been met. So that was one of those moments where there's been many. It's not advertised. You know, it's not on my website, Greg. But yeah, it's what I end up doing.
It's out there now. The minute we publish this.
Yeah.
Okay. We must, if Max could talk, I'd have him on the podcast. I said, Max, you would make a very interesting guest. So at a practical level, you're trying to choose a career for yourself.
Yeah.
Which isn't in all of this area.
No.
And how in the name of God did you land on chefing?
I know. I'll be honest with you, it was the quickest way out of home and school and just learn a skill that I could go anywhere in the world with, and I was interested in food. Yeah, just...
Yeah. And did it serve you well?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm so glad to this day that I learned how to cook. Did I enjoy kitchens? Like, there was great crack in them, but I don't like the confinement of the one room and the repetitiveness of, you know, the orders, and you move kitchens to learn different foods. Has it served me? So now when I have people come here for trainings or for retreats, for overnights, you know,
okay,
all of
another
that.
service. Go for it. We got there.
We got there. So I teach Reiki, all levels of Reiki. I teach animal communication, and I bring people here for retreats. So whether that's they want to come for one night and they want to just actually have a relaxing time with the horses and have sessions, or they want to come and learn. So it might be a 3-day retreat. So that's where the cooking, it doesn't stress me, Greg. I actually really look forward to going, okay, what? You know, what kind of food do they like? You know, make a list, go and gather everything, cook everything, and have it ready. So it's part of the wholesome, nurturing, caring for people that thankfully doesn't bring me stress because of having learned how to cook. So it's definitely served as a function. I'm glad I learned, and I see now why I learned, you know? Yeah.
And your retreats, is that individuals booking with you and coming here just themselves, or is it a number of people?
Yeah.
Do you run these at scheduled times? There's a retreat next March, on the 11th of March, my birthday.
I'll remember.
But is that an organised thing, or is that an individual who wants to get a bit closer to everything that you're doing? And does that become a retreat? How does that work?
So far it's been 1 or 2, because I have some space for people to stay here. Yeah. This year, or the groups, the trainings will obviously be a bigger group, but they're not staying overnight, you know. This year where it's going is that it would be bigger groups come in and actually seek out more local accommodation as such. So it will be bigger groups that come to immerse themselves here in this safe place. It's offering people a safe place to just connect in with the horses, connect in with nature, and learn skills that they can take away with them and then support themselves, you know.
So now we're talking about the animals again.
Yeah.
So the animals are part of
The retreats.
of the retreats and your offering.
Yeah.
So what role do the animals play in your work and healing and all that kind of thing? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah.
And how did you evolve your offering, that it's not just a Reiki practice, but animals are just part of it? Because I've heard of this happening in a number of places, and horses in particular seem to have a particular gift. Can you explain the role of horses and why they're important to all of this?
Yeah, absolutely. Horses have a natural ability to sense. So they operate from a place of peace at all times, peaceful grazing as such. They're sensing beings, and there's been numerous studies, Greg, that, and science has proven it, of how they read our heart rate. You know, they look to regulate our heart rate on a very basic level, or they just reflect back they're hearing us, you know. So as a child, I interacted with horses. I've always had a deep passion for horses. I did anything to be able to work in stables, be around them, and kind of grow that connection with them. And then I, over time, saw people doing Reiki with horses, or kind of therapeutic work, or I was like, there's something in that, like this, looking for this language. How do you forge this? So I started learning and studying around that, around working in horses. But what does working with horses mean?
Yeah, so at a practical level.
On a practical level, exactly.
I've got some shit going on in my life. And
exactly.
You were saying, well, we can do this with the horses. How does that work?
How does that work? Exactly. So we would go out to the horses. I'm going to give you an example in its simplest form to show you kind of how it works as such. There was a lovely lady here, and we were working with the horses, and so without breaking confidence, I can tell it in a certain way. We were working, when I say working with the horses, we had picked 2 of the horses. We had went out to the field with them. We were standing with them. We had asked permission to be with them. Which
horses did you pick?
April and Levi, the 2
okay.
below.
And why those 2 horses? Because you have, is it 5?
I have 6,
okay.
4 here and 2 below. We had worked with these, and I felt drawn to bring her to these. Okay. April is particularly kind of almost motherly. There's something motherly about. They all have their different personalities, and so they'll all work with people differently. So we're standing there working with the horses, and the horses, what they do is they would sense whatever is disharmony in you, Greg. So if you're standing in front of them and we're doing nothing, only standing there, just like you would with your dogs, just, looking to rub them, just looking to be with them, and just, I call it unbridling. We're in our naked truth with them. We're dropping all the masks, whatever we kind of put out. So we're standing there with the horses, and they evoke the emotions within us, and so they're evoking this deep emotion in this lady. She's standing there, and I only found out afterwards, so I'm kind of holding the space for the 2 of them and watching the safety. And April is locked in with her. She is just here, right up against her, eyeballing her, but in a nice way. And next minute, April just takes off. And I said, do you mind me asking what went on for you there? And she said there was this deep emotion coming up. She said that it was becoming too much. And she said, I knew one of us needed to leave. And I begged her desperately, I need one of us to leave right now. And she couldn't believe that the horse heard her without her speaking this out loud. And it was one of the first times in her life that she had named a need. That so many times in her life she had been overcome by these overwhelming emotions around people. And that's what the horses do. They will take us back to where does this happen in your social interactions? So for this lady, she kind of almost be overshadowed by people, having to always push down her needs, push down her feelings to please. And yet she's standing here in front of this massive horse. April's the biggest horse I have. And this horse has heard her, and it's been safe for her to articulate, I need you to leave right now. And it was And so it is an example of the simplicity of when we just stand with horses and they read us. They're reading our minds, they're reading our emotions, and we're talking non-verbally to them. And they react and respond to that accordingly. Does that explain?
Yeah. So to the person coming through the door up the driveway into the paddock, to literally say to them, I'm now going to introduce you to a particular horse and just be with them.
Yeah. So we'll come in, I'll ask if they've had experience with horses or not, or are they afraid of them? So then we'll rope them off if they are. And I'll just say there's a few different stages to this. We're going to go into their field. We're going to go into their home. It's not an assumption that we can just be there. We'll ask their permission, just like we've arranged this today. And then we're going to be with them first. Introduce ourselves, just talk with them. And then we might look to touch them, you know?
Yeah.
And usually I'll say, just notice where you're touching them. Because what is going on in that part of your body? And always the horse is asking them to touch in their body where actually is the block to peace in themselves. And so then that brings the conversation forward. Brushing them, grooming them, being with them. You know, quite often I don't need to do a lot because only to translate. The horse is asking me what questions to ask. So it's like this invisible dance. It's as I say on my website, it's truth in motion, you know. The horse brings us back in contact with ourselves.
Okay, so the interaction with the horse, does that help the individual to open up a little bit to you?
Absolutely.
Or identify what's going on? Or do you need to do a bit of translation by observing, as you said, the horse running away for a moment or whatever?
Yep, this is it. Usually it will evoke the speech, you know, or evoke emotion. There was one person had been bereaved quite a lot and they hadn't cried for the 2 years. And in the presence of the horses, they evoked the grief tears as such, you know. So a lot of the time, they'll just don't even know why they're talking or what they're saying. It's stuff they would have never articulated to people, to therapists, to their family. But there's a naked truth with the horses. And then other times, I will just say, let's observe, you know. Maybe all the horses walk away. And they keep walking away, you know, and maybe the person is like, oh, no, they don't like my energy or they don't like me and they're moving away from me. And then we get to explore, where does that show up in your life, you know, and they're like, oh, yeah, I expect people to always want to be with me, or I take it personally if someone says no. So we get to explore. So the horses are usually, in their very subtle movements and behaviour, trying to show us what is happening. And when we're curious, this is where we get curious. Where is that showing up in your life? So it's to go out to the field with the horses. If you were to come out there with me, Greg, and it's to be open, no agenda. You know, you might think you're coming to look at one thing, or like, I'm not going to let Ellie see that part of me, but the horse will see it. So the horse is going to see it.
So what a freak.
And it's just to be open to what may come up in the field with the horses.
We must do that.
We will, yeah.
Okay. So, we're busy chefing.
Yeah.
Which is a mad, mad world. Are there spirits in the kitchens?
Yeah, there was actually.
Yeah. Was there?
Yeah, there was. Actually, in a few of them, there was one. I won't name it, but it's a well-known heritage town in Cork, and I used to have one of the early morning shifts, and there was many of them, and they were seen by other people in there. A few members of staff would see them.
Wow.
Yeah, and there were. Yeah. It was a very, very old building, but it doesn't need always to be an old building. It can be a new building. But yeah, there was. Yeah, and I used to just chat to them. You know, I was like, okay, you know, I'd be very much like, we just need to get along. There's room for us all here. You know. Yeah.
Okay, so alongside that, then you started exploring Reiki and psychotherapy, and studying and maybe finding that language for these things that you felt were inside you.
Yeah.
And the decision to, okay, I'm going to shut the door on that profession.
Yeah.
And I'm going to apply all of my time and my energy to the profession now of what you're doing, unbridling the soul.
Yeah.
When did you make that decision? Was that a hard decision to make?
No, it wasn't a hard decision. It was chefing really, Greg, like on a practical level, funded my training.
We need to pay the bills, don't
Absolutely,
we? Yeah.
absolutely.
We're talking about foundations. Like a basic foundation with all of us is putting bread on the table.
Totally, and not being impractical about it, you know. So I knew it allowed me to work and train in these therapies, and so I can describe it kind of going slowly out of chefing and more into holistic therapies until this was growing enough that I could close the door on it. And I knew I didn't want to continue in kitchens, but I wasn't going to be silly about it when I went, okay, it's something I can do, and it can actually provide me to move into this, you know.
You've been practical. You've a roof over your head, and you have a kid.
Exactly.
The lovely Rachel.
Exactly. So
just a bridge.
It was just a bridge, you know, and probably a lot of things coincided at the same time, Greg. You know, I was married, so and we separated. Like I would say, we're both good people. We've never fought. We're just deeply incompatible, but we were meant to come together for that time. You know, and there's a beautiful daughter there as a result. So the movement out of chefing kind of had happened, and then the separation, and then the movement from that life, and you know, so there was just a natural progression into it. Yeah.
How do you heal yourself?
How do I heal myself? How do I stay well? I'm always open and curious with whatever's there for me. The horses are a massive solace for me.
So they still are?
They still are to this day. Like, they absolutely root me in my body, you know. Things that are really important to me, the simplicity of just being in nature, being with the horses, meeting my own needs. Choice is a big one of like, what am I choosing for myself today? You know, the power of choice. Swimming, self-Reiki, which is just laying your hands on yourself, and all it does is it's like filling up this bank account of peace within you, you know. Simple stuff, not complicated, but simple stuff. Pretty much choosing everything that I do, Greg, I enjoy. So whether that's the people that I hang out with, whether that is, being with the horses, or my work, or, they're all things that support my wellness, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does Reiki work?
How does Reiki work? Okay. It's a good question. I'll give it my best shot to explain
It's like a term. We all kind of know, Reiki. But unless you've experienced a Reiki session,
yes,
you're going to have no idea. So
what is
practically speaking?
Practically
I'm here for a Reiki session. What do I do? How does this work?
So if we look at, I'm looking at the birds out there now rooting away. Birds, us, we're energetic beings. We don't dispute that. And we have energy running through us, okay? And all Reiki is, again, tuning, dialing in, turning up the dial, turning up the volume on that energy that is running through us. So if you were to come for a Reiki session, there's a bed in there, you're fully clothed, you're covered with blankets, and the Reiki, it's universal energy. So what it is, energy flowing through me. It's not coming from me, Greg. It's coming outside of me. We're just tapping in to what is already there. And it's coming through me, and it's flowing through my hands, and it's a laying of my hands on your body in positions. And why the positions? Because they offer comfort and care. And it's filling your body up with this beautiful, warm, easy, peaceful energy. Interestingly, as I offer to you, I receive as well, because Reiki just sees everyone in that moment that we tune into as you know, needing it as such. So that's how it works. How does it work in you? It has its own consciousness. So it knows where to go when it meets your body. Okay? Just like it's landing in. And this is
when you say it,
the energy itself,
okay.
This beautiful, warm, just think of it as a beautiful, warm, peaceful flow of energy. And you'll feel it like a warmth coming through your body. You'll probably feel sleepy. You'll probably drop off into a sleep with it as such. It's a relaxant. And we have energy centers in our body. They, just like we have hormonal centers, those energy centers they run the functioning of our body. So Greg, if you take your car to the garage and you say, give it a full MOT, give it the once over, or you go to your doctor and you say, can you give me the once over here and check that everything is running perfectly? Well, it's the same, just energetically, when you lie up on the Reiki bed. It is giving your body an MOT. This energy comes in, it's flooding your system, and it's clearing out any kind of the gunk, the stagnation, any blockages, just from interacting with daily life, you know? It's like if we eat rubbish foods, we feel sluggish, we don't feel well. Whereas if we eat well, we feel good, don't we? And it's the same with energy. This good energy floods your system and gives you kind of that boost of well-being. In its simplest form, that's what it is. It's filling you up. It's giving you an MOT.
So it's something people should engage with, not necessarily because they have a particular issue.
Yeah.
Just
for well-being.
This is just well-being.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't know that and I didn't understand that. So that's another service that's available in Unbridling the Soul.
Yeah.
Not everything you do with individuals is in person.
That's right. Yeah. Some of it is remote or distance healing, as it's known. Yeah.
How does that work? Is that Mr. Zoom?
Not necessarily. It's very similar to the animal communication.
Right.
Yeah. So I could sit there where you're sitting.
Yeah.
And you have asked me from your home, can you share distance Reiki with me? So we arrange a time. And because I know you, I don't need a photograph. So I just bring your image into my mind. And I sit there and I just drop into a soft place, a meditative place as such. And I tune in or dial in to your energetic frequency. The permission is there to do so. And I can only describe it then, Greg. I am sitting there with my eyes closed. And it's like you're here in front of me or I am in your room. Now, like without wanting to creep you out.
Yeah.
And because you're not on the table and I can't move around you, you're not hearing the person. So it's energetically, I can move you with my hands. So I can feel my hands laying on your body or where I'm drawn to lay your body. So it is we have tuned into the radio channel and that healing energy is coming through you along that frequency and landing into you. And you will feel it most of the time, even more amplified than in person. That is the way people describe it. They feel like I'm in the room with them. They will, and it's not a placebo effect because they are feeling and experiencing sensations that when we talk afterwards, we've both seen and experienced the same thing, you know. We've experienced the same pain and that pain moved or so on. So it can be done remotely. We've just tuned in to the one channel for that energy to come through. And afterwards we just cut the connection, disconnect.
Okay.
You know?
So if I come here for an appointment at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
That's very clear. We're both here.
Yeah.
If it's
3 p.m. in person or distant.
Yeah. So is it still an appointment? We're doing this at 3 p.m.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you're telling that person to lie in the bed or...
Yeah.
It's not like during the Liverpool match.
You don't have it during the Liverpool match, yeah. I can't magically make them win. I'm not that. No, we would arrange a time because I respect my time and yours and I respect the energy and we're locking in to that frequency.
Okay, so what's the instruction to the person? Just
to you?
At 3 p.m. today?
Yeah.
Sit in a comfortable chair or lie in the bed for
I would encourage you, exactly. I would say, if at all possible, can you just go somewhere quiet? Can you lie down in your bed? Can you lie down on the couch? Can you make sure you're warm and comfortable and just be open to receiving it? That, you know, rather than being at work and busy and doing and interacting, it's respecting it, just like you would take the time to come here in person.
Yeah.
So it's the same, rest at home. But we don't have the physical distractions. You haven't had to drive anywhere. you know, the comfort of your own home. And there's even none of the chat. So we've just blasted away any of the distractions and we're locked into that energy channel.
Okay, so do I know at 3 p.m. today, I just need to find a quiet corner and this will begin, and at 3:30 or 4 o'clock or whatever, it's going to finish?
Yeah, so I'll text you when I'm beginning.
Okay.
And then I'll text you afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of the time, the distance Reiki, I do readings as well with cards, healing readings.
We're on to the next service. We're nearly there.
We're slowly getting there. Oh my
That's
God.
the pièce de résistance, or whatever you call it in very fancy little French.
So that is, it's something else I learned. It's just with cards. It's healing readings, as I call them. So I would ask for what cards to be drawn for you, messages from your guides, from your team. Yeah.
Okay. So this card business.
Yes.
When I think of cards, immediately I think of tarot readings.
Yeah.
That's my only kind of reference point to cards. This
Yeah.
is not tarot readings.
No, like there is a deck of tarot cards there, but I use them more for the spiritual team kind of coming through and bringing messages. I don't call myself a psychic. I don't call myself a medium, you know, none of that. I'm not a fortune teller, Greg, and that's why I kind of very careful around the advertising of it. From one of the guys I learned from, one of my favourite mentors, he would call them healing readings, you know.
You describe it as angel card healings and readings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And the challenge, I guess, in a way, for anyone reading this, you probably have very little reference point to that other than, I don't know, your own attachment to those words, wherever that comes from. So who should engage with this? Why would I come onto your website and engage with you and request an angel card healing? Who is this for?
Who is this for? So I think of all the people that I work with. Certainly open to spirit, open to something unseen there, or so that would be a first, at least the openness and the willingness to engage with it. And really maybe that in the day-to-day they're going through challenges that they're just kind of going, do you know what, I'd love a bit of reassurance, a bit of clarity, a bit of guidance from my guides. Maybe they're overwhelmed emotionally, you know, physically tired, and they're just looking for something outside of the physical. Something, and so usually what people get from it is they get clarity. It feels nurturing. It feels warm. They'll have received a Reiki healing, and then the reading I send on by voice note, so they can play it as often as they want. I would ask for the cards to be drawn for you, and then send on a voice.
So would this typically be a follow-up to Reiki?
It can be totally separate, or it can be together. Yeah.
So how does it work?
How does it work?
Yeah, I'm all in. Let's do this.
Let's do this. So just like going to have the distance healing session at home, and you said, you know what, Ellie, I'd like an angel reading with this distant Reiki. So that's how they come together. So I go, fine. So you'll have laid down for your half an hour, your 45 minutes. I'll have let you know that we're beginning. And I will have shared healing with you. And then I will have asked permission to connect with your guides, Greg, your beings. And I will have the cards with me, and you'll have asked me to ask the cards questions, you know, or what cards can support Greg right now. And there is such a part of it that...
You're smiling now and looking at me. Go on.
I am, because I always laugh at... I'm always blown away by that piece of the guides and the cards and the person and the messages that they deliver. And it's almost like I'm removed from it. I am just...
Conduit or something?
A conduit or a channel or whatever. Yeah. I'm a service, that provides it. And so I'll shuffle the cards. I've got you in mind. What is there for Greg today? And, you know, might be 3 cards, might be 6 cards or whatever. And I never question it. I just trust it that, okay, and sometimes there's a vulnerability of sharing that with you because, you know, she's off her rocker. But I'm yet to have experienced that. That's where the mind kicks in, you know. And so I'll text you and I'll say, Greg, the distant Reiki healing is done now. I've drawn your cards. I will send on pictures of them to you, and then I'll send a voice note. And so what I was taught through one of my Reiki teachers was how to read the cards. And I'll send that on. This is just what they're saying. This is what your angels are saying them. This is what your guides are saying in them, so my brain gets to park, and without questioning, will this resonate with Greg? Will this be right for him? And each time and every time the person will come back and say why that resonated, and it just lands easily, lands gently, lands in a way that is clarifying, that is validating. Because probably, Greg, whatever you're looking for, we're all intuitive at the end of the day. It's probably just validating your own answers to something. It's probably just reassuring you of where you were going anyway, So when you take me out of it, all it's doing is giving you validation and reassurance in a really nice, warm way.
And a bit like Reiki, when we're saying we could be coming to you because we've got a particular issue that's troubling you, in exactly the same way with the angel card healings. Can that just be curiosity?
Totally.
I just want to know about my spirits, is it? Or yeah. So who are the gang that are hanging out with me on a regular basis? That's
it. Absolutely. Just curious. Or I've had really skeptical people, going, I don't believe in this. I don't want to believe in it, but there's something there, So it's like this push and pull. And sometimes they just want to know who's around them, who's minding them.
Or can it be a case of, I don't think there's anything there, but I'm really curious and I'd like to figure that out.
Yeah.
My daughter Ellen used to see an evil woman.
Okay.
And she'd nearly describe it as a witch who would appear at the end of her bed. She'd see her in Ballincollig on the streets, and she was petrified of this evil woman who kept on showing up. I mean, petrified. Ellen is strange. Now, those days when you're functioning quite perfectly in the world, but we've talked about foundation. There isn't a solid foundation in you that day. You're just a little bit off center, but the normal people you interact with will never know. Including your partner, your folks, your kids. She would always know. Ellen would turn around and she would say to you, "You're sad today, Dad." Yeah. You little bitch. Can you see through me or something? How did you know that? She still had that ability. And even back to Liverpool, there was a huge game many, many years ago, and they were on a great run, hopefully to win the league. And and she said, they had a big match against Man United. I said, I had a dream last night that they lost 4-0. Don't tell me this. Don't tell me this, Ellen. They lost 4-0.
She knew.
What was going on with Ellen? Do you understand what I'm saying to you about Ellen?
Yeah.
Can you explain it to me?
Can I explain? Well, I don't know Ellen, and I don't wish to disrespect her or assume.
But with the few little tidbits that I've given you there. What's going on with her? And does she have... She's very sensitive. You mentioned your mum and the work with the boys in St. Joseph's.
Yeah.
Ellen is a special needs assistant at St. Paul's. She comes alive. I would nearly say the more needy a child is, she comes alive. I think it's a gift, being able to do work like that. I think most people couldn't handle it, but she just absolutely comes alive. So is there something going on with her in a way that you have in you, tuning in at a different frequency than most of us are able to do?
I suppose I might use the wrong words here.
So it's difficult, isn't it? It's hard to find any perfect words.
It is. It's very hard to articulate it. So, okay. One of my daughter's skills, she's exceptional at maths. And it's unexplainable how she is able to do those figures in her head. She just is. So we call that an ability.
Yeah.
Okay? Or we call it a gift or a natural aptitude. And then I would say maybe similar with Ellen. Like sensitivity to other people's emotions. Obviously, she's very tuned in intuitively, whatever words she uses for it. But that is an ability, an aptitude, a gift that I suspect is enhancing her fulfillment and in how she works and is in service with those children. So it's almost like a vocation. So yeah, that sensing that I gather is really finely tuned, and the volume is up high on that. Just like maybe one of your great skills or someone else's. We all have different.
We're still searching for those, Ellie.
I don't know.
That's a lovely put down, isn't it? We're good at that. Okay. I think I have all of the services trapped down. So, in person,
Yeah,
Reiki only, or healing with the animals.
exactly.
You do group training.
Yeah.
And I presume on the website, if you just check the website,
Exactly.
you'll figure out very quickly when they're happening. You're on the social media channels and all that kind of thing. So that's good if people are interested. So it's unbridlingthesoul.com.
That's right.
What's happiness to you?
Happiness is, it's a connected life, Greg. It's I think I used this word the other day too. I'm really passionate and grateful to be alive. So it's a passionate aliveness. It's like happiness is engaging with life, making plans, having dreams, really connected with people. Happiness is not surface, and happiness is not trying to be happy all the time, or and it's not staying in the sadness. Happiness is enjoyment and gratitude of life, and getting up in the morning and being excited to be alive, being excited, what do I get to do today, and who do I get to meet today, and being open to the magic of life, but in its simplest form. It's connected, really feeling connected to myself, connected to the people around me, connected to the horses, and like this, just a conversation today. Happiness like this, just having a chat with someone lovely, you know?
It's cool. The more of that you can do in your life, the better.
Yeah.
And winning?
Winning. I hadn't thought of that question.
Yeah. I don't want that to be a crude word, that's not about money or anything like that. And it can be, but your objectives. But, there's a purpose to an awful lot of what you do, either personally or professionally. And what, I keep on saying to people, it's like you might love playing football, but without goalposts, it can be a bit pointless. So for you, what are the things that will give you satisfaction this year? Putting the ball on the net and you go, yes, that was an achievement. How do you recognize the things that go, yes, that was good, that was good?
Winning is, I experience huge fulfillment when people come to, whether it's engage with the horses or learn animal communication or learn Reiki, Greg, and I see them getting it, and I see them taking those skills and bringing them back into their families and their animal lives, and knowing that there's this ripple effect. This peace, this harmony, these skills that they will take with them. And not only will they benefit, but their animals and friends and wherever they go in the world. That's winning, because I cannot reach everyone, and I'm not for everyone. But whoever does come here this year and seen them get it, and when they think they wouldn't get it, or seen them, winning is seeing people realise how loops or thoughts or patterns of behaviour were kind of impacting them, and they get to do something different. And it's not about me telling them what to do. It's about them coming to this themselves, and then that they take it back to their lives. That's winning for me, is that somehow being in service in what I do and the people I serve and that come here, and that is somehow enhancing their life.
Okay. Yeah, you want to make a difference.
Yeah.
Now, there's a limit to that,
Yeah.
in that you have only so many waking hours in a day. You have to get on with your life chores and everything else like the rest of us. Is there anything you can do to expand what you do outside of the confinement of so many hours in a day?
Well, I suppose the more people that come to learn, the more then, and if they work through the levels, they will go and teach. So it's way beyond me then, So because there's one me, and there's so many hours in the day, and there's the parent Ellie or the friend Ellie or whatever. But it's the more people that come to learn,
Okay.
the more then we can.
And what I'm nudging you towards is like,
sorry.
Will you speak at events, or might you blog, and I know you've got your social media channels, which is a good way of reaching more people.
Yeah.
Might you write?
Yeah.
Might you podcast?
Thank you for the nudge. Yeah. So there is a lady I'm working with, and we have agreed that this year I will do more podcasts. And I also am writing a book at the moment.
Good.
Yeah. And it is called Unbridling the Soul. That's what it's called. And it is, it really is a coming together of all that I do, but it gives people these little chapters and these reflective notes, and it's just bringing them in that they can have this little skill, this book that they can pick up and down, these skills, these techniques, these ponderings, these wanderings. So there is more talks there. I do love writing. I love words. So yeah, there is writing and there is more talking. Yeah.
And I do think the more people understand you, and that's why even on the podcast, I like people to get to know the person before she did all of these things. I think the more you can show people the real you in an everyday sort of a way, I think the more they'll connect with what you do professionally and everything else. So my very last question for you is, okay, we're at the beginning of a year.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, people are feeling that bit restless in their heads, or something is just a little bit off center within themselves. And they obviously know that if they come to Unbridling the Soul, they'll definitely get help. But as a way of empowering them, is there any piece of advice you'd give someone who's listening?
I would be a huge advocate of empowering people. Yeah. So I probably would come back to my values, Greg, and I would say to them, get curious. So I put curiosity and compassion together. Stand alone, they almost mean nothing. They can but I would say to people, can they be curious and really compassionate with that restlessness? Like what's under that? Like start looking like what's under that and what's under that? What's under that story? Can they write it? Can they voice note it to themselves? Can they talk it out? Because sometimes people will interfere and create these barriers to us actually thinking for ourselves. The start of a year, well, what do I want to see in this year? What changes do I want to make? What choices do I want to make? This restlessness, this, like almost at times I wanted to climb out of my skin, and then I will come back to what's really there. Why am I wanting to climb out of my skin? Why am I getting annoyed? Why am I getting short-tempered? Why am I getting angry with people? Because these are all human emotions. And I would say, come back to compassionate curiosity. What's really there? Because it's not about what they are doing or that job or that boss, or actually what's there. That's the advice. And because that's empowering. Because that's not me, that's not you. That's actually about them. It's empowering them to go in, have a root around, Yeah.
Okay. Be curious about yourself. Scratch that itch and
compassion with it, without beratement, without why didn't I make these choices 10 years ago? Why didn't I do this? Or, why didn't I ask that? Why didn't I have that conversation? But come back into now. What can I do now?
And again, for anyone who's listening, I'm going to talk about little Bert, our fella. And
Yeah.
so on Brightening the Soul, we were clients of you. I'm not sure if we were or Bert was, and we just facilitated a little bit.
It was a privilege.
Yeah, we were struggling with our little boy who was clearly sick. He had stopped eating. We were wrestling with so many things. He was a snappy little fella. We never fully understood where that was coming from. And we had him 9.5 years. And it's such a pity in a way that we didn't understand some of the things that you helped us to understand by your chats with him about why he was snappy and, the things that worried him, his approach to different things. You helped us to understand. And I think at times when you say it to him, just talk to me. If only you could tell me what you'd like to eat or what you'd like to do right now. Sometimes he'd be barking and say, what do you want? I don't know what you want. I'd love if he could do it. And with your help, we were able to do that. And I know some people are going to be listening. They're okay, that's about cuckoo or skeptical or whatever.
That's okay.
There were days when you had that little chat with him, that intervention, that conversation, and 15 minutes later, we're in the car and he's hopping out of it and there's a skip in his step. Yeah. And the guy who didn't want to walk 10 feet was now trotting down the road with his tail up in the air, happy out. Yeah. So Ellie is the real deal. And the most beautiful heart. This wasn't the service you provided. This was something that you deliver with heart and soul. So thank you so much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
It was a real privilege to be asked into your lives. Well, to have met you first day, it was synchronistic, but to be asked into your lives and to get to meet Bert, to get to meet Honey, and to be allowed into his world and chat with him, and support you in some small way. It was a privilege. It was an incredible journey. Like he was a phenomenal boy. I love that you called him Bert Best, the best boy Bert, He was a gorgeous, gorgeous boy, really special dog. And that had an incredible way of orchestrating that extra time with you, And I could feel the emotion there for each of us in his loss. I only knew him a short time and such an imprint he made on my heart. So phenomenal imprint for you and Dee and your life that you shared with him. And just special, special boy. And I don't think we'd be sitting here today only for him.
That's true. And he'd snap at people. Oh my God, everyone got the Bert warning. Jesus, complicated little dog, but he got in there with all of us. So my next little chore for you, a little task, is the impact on Honey. Yeah. And you might have a little chat with her because now there's another little girl that we're convinced that Bert introduced us to. She's very like Bert. There was an accidental meeting a fortnight ago. She's now living with us. She's like a mini Bert, little Maggie. I'm convinced that Bert sent her our way. Do you think that's possible?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. From what I understand with the dogs that I chat, they come back, they come back, or they will line up or already have lined up animals for us, and I cannot deny when you brought Maggie here and I walked out, I will, that moment is etched forever. And Maggie came out of the car and I described it to you today. It was like a mirage of Bert around. It was like seeing the female version of Bert, and it was almost like he's gifted. You got to experience such a gift of life with him and such a bond and connection, but it almost had to be a female that would come in this time. I do felt he was part of the placement of her. And there is now this beautiful female version of Bert that is able to offer you a whole lot of love and connection. It's exquisitely beautiful, the whole synchronicity of it.
So my request is that you might have a chat with Honey.
I will.
Who suddenly, after getting incredibly stubborn about getting into the car,
a
bit reluctant.
Yeah.
And I guess she has to find her own way now with a new buddy because she's lost the other character who bossed her around to a huge degree.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ellie, thank you so much for being on the Win Happy podcast.
Thank you, Greg, for having me and chatting with me. And sorry if I rambled off track many times, but thank you. I really appreciate the chat with you today.
Cool.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
I will. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you for listening to the Win Happy podcast, which has been brought to you by Fusion Communications. If you'd like to get in touch, feel free to send me an email at greg@fusion.ie. So until next time, take it easy.